Friends, I welcome you once again to this class on business law. In this video, we will look into the idea of acceptance and we'll understand what are the essential elements of acceptance. So before we get into the topic of acceptance, I would want to touch the definition of what is called an offer or a proposal. So we have try to understand about offer in the previous video. So this is according to section 2 subsection A of the Indian Contract Act 1872. So here when one person signifies his willingness to another to do or to abstain from doing anything with a view to obtaining the assent of the other person to such act or abstinence, he is said to make a proposal. So when one person expresses his willingness to do something or not to do something to someone, to some person, to a particular person, with the view to obtain his assent or consent. So such an act or abstinence is said to be proposal. So let's talk about acceptance here. So a proposal is made by a promiser to a promisee, by one person to another. So when the person to whom the proposal is made, to the particular person to whom the proposal is made, signifies his assent thereto, the proposal becomes accepted, and finally it becomes a promise. So this is according to section 2 subsection B of the Indian Contract Act 1872. So we need to understand that that particular person who accepts the proposal from a promiser is said to fulfill the concept of acceptance, and that particular proposal, when accepted, becomes a promise. So here we will try to understand the essential elements of a valid acceptance. So the elements that are required in a valid acceptance. So first one is acceptance must be absolute and unconditional. That means the acceptance should not be conditional, but an offer may be conditional. So in this case, if we can see, Helena proposed to sell her scooter for rupees 30,000 to Wendy. Okay, here Helena places an offer to Wendy to sell her scooter for rupees 30,000. If Wendy accepts the offer as such, okay, that will end up as a promise wherein Wendy will buy the scooter for rupees 30,000. But if another case wherein Wendy negotiated the scooter for rupees 20,000 with Helena, so Wendy doesn't want to pay rupees 30,000 for that scooter, but she may pay can pay only 20,000 rupees for that scooter. So this offer placed by Helena does not end up as a promise, but it again Wendy places another offer to Helena here, so that is called a counter offer. So here acceptance doesn't happen, but a counter offer happens. So acceptance need to be unconditional and absolute. Second point is acceptance must be communicated to the offerer. So every acceptance that is made should be communicated properly to the offerer. For example, a manager of a raw material supplying company receives an email regarding supply of raw material. Okay, so he has to supply some raw materials to a production company. So the manager started writing an email saying, accepted, the offer has been accepted. But what he does is he saved the email in his drafts and forgot to send the email, forgot to press send. Okay, so here the acceptance has not been communicated to the offerer. So every acceptance need to be communicated. So the third point which you are seeing in essential elements is acceptance may be made within a reasonable time or stipulated time. So the acceptance which is made by the offeree need to be made within a stipulated point of time. For example, A proposed to sell his car for rupees 9 lakhs to B. It was also mentioned that B, if he may accept the offer, he has to communicate the acceptance within 5 working days. So 5 working days is the stipulated time given to B in order for him to accept the offer. Okay, so in some cases the time may not be stipulated. In those cases, there might be a reasonable time which is being taken, maybe 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, which is reasonable. Fourth point is acceptance may be expressed or implied. We already saw that in the previous video that a contract, no, so every communication may be expressed or implied. The same way, an offer may be expressed or implied. So again, here we see that acceptance may be expressed or implied. So expressed means communicating through words spoken or written. Implied means communicating through the circumstances, okay, from the contact of the parties. Okay, so here it should be understood that there should be an intention on the part of the acceptor, the particular person, to fulfill the terms of the offer. Okay, even if it is implied from the circumstances, it should be noted that there should be an intention on the part of the acceptor or the offeree to fulfill the terms of the offer. Uh, Next one, acceptance must be made by the particular party or the parties to whom the offer is made. Okay, a third party may not be able to communicate the acceptance of the offer. Okay, so the acceptance need to be communicated by the party or the parties to whom the offer is particularly made. So the fifth point we see in essential elements of a valid acceptance is that counter offer may not be essentially an acceptance. So we can take this example again, where Helena proposed to sell her scooter for rupees 30,000 to Wendy. So in this case, if Wendy negotiated the scooter for rupees 20,000 with Helena, so this is not acceptance by Wendy, but it is a counter offer made by Wendy to Helena, right? So now counter offer is not an acceptance. Sixth point is an acceptance may be revoked or cancelled or withdrawn at any time before the communication of the acceptance is complete, but not afterwards. So acceptance may be revoked or withdrawn before the communication of the acceptance reaches the offerer, right, or the promisor. So before that point of time, the acceptance may be revoked, but after that point of time, after the communication reaches the offerer or the proposer, the acceptance may not be able to be revoked by the offeree. So finally, here we see the situations in which an offer may get terminated. So first one is an offer gets lapsed after a stipulated or reasonable time. So we saw in the previous example that 5 working days were given by the offerer to the offeree for the communication of the acceptance. So before that point of time, the offeree needs to communicate the acceptance to the offerer. Otherwise, the offer gets terminated. Okay, there might be different time periods or stipulated time periods, maybe 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. Okay, just before that point of time, the communication of the acceptance need to be completed, or else the offer may get terminated. Second one is when offeree fails to fulfill a condition precedent to the acceptance. So there might be a condition by the offerer to the offeree precedent or before the acceptance, before the communication of acceptance. So if the condition is not fulfilled before the acceptance, automatically the offer gets terminated. Third one is termination due to death or insanity of the offerer or the offeree, of the two parties. Okay, maybe death happens to, or death may happen, or in the one of the parties may become insane, or we can say an idiotic person, or um, person with brain damage. Okay, in those cases, the termination may get um, ended. Sorry, the offer may get terminated. So next one is when the offer is being rejected by the offeree. We know that if the offeree rejects the offer, it automatically gets terminated. Next one, when it is revoked by the offerer before acceptance. So an offerer, communicates the offer to the offeree. Before the offeree tries to accept the offer, the offerer does not want the offer, and he thereby revokes the offer or withdraws the offer. In that case, an offer gets terminated. Finally, when it is not being accepted in the mode prescribed. So sometimes the offerer might prescribe the mode in which the acceptance need to be communicated or made. For example, through email, an offerer may ask the offeree to communicate it through email, or through mobile phone, through by calling the offerer, or through a letter, by post, etc. So whatever the mode is prescribed by the offerer, it has to be complied by the offeree while sending the communication for acceptance. If not, then offer gets terminated. So that's all for now. Thank you so much, students, for listening. Thank you.